another chapter video from the Geneva Project Truth. Today I'm going to be reading chapter 20, so enjoy! Gong! It was time for music rehearsal. Luckily I was able to get by so far by faking that I was singing. I stood next to Sparrow, whose sweet voice rang so clear and bright that she would surely drown out my imperfections, even if I was singing. The first time I heard her singing voice up close, it took my breath away. It sounded like what I imagined angels to sound like. Each note was crisp and effortless. Her voice rang out like a shiny, perfect bell. Each note was attached to the next with a fluid quality that couldn't be taught. She was naturally gifted with this melody. I remember thinking if I sounded that good, I would sing everything. I would sing instead of talk. I would never stop. Today, I took my usual spot next to Sparrow, who was beaming and flipping through the sheet music. She's going to assign the solo today. Oh, you know you're totally going to get it. You're amazing, Sparrow. Oh, thank you, Tippy. But will you be okay without me? Sure, I can fake it pretty well, I smiled. Just then, Miss Sprigg came into our room and called us all to attention. She looked all business with her normally unruly mop of brown hair twisted into a neat little bun high atop her head. It almost made her look taller. I bet that was her intention, because her tiny stature was easily lost among some of the taller Johns of our year. I'd always liked Miss Sprigg. She almost reminded me of myself, a quiet outcast even among the Griffs. She was so short and frail, and all the other Griffs paid no attention to her. Imagined that I would probably look just like her when I grew up, save for my flaxen hair. It was a shame that she was our music teacher, though, because my lack of musical talent probably ensured my feelings toward her weren't mutual. She'd been teaching us and all the other orphans to sing for as long as I could remember. She had a decent singing voice, and must have a true passion for music to volunteer to teach our lot. She'd been putting up with the likes of me and some of the less than talented orphans for a long time. Each class had one song to learn and perform at the New Year's Gala. After I performed and released all of my nervous jitters, I actually looked forward to hearing the other orphans sing. It was our only chance to listen to them sing since each class rehearsed and performed separately. Last year, Nova's class sang a beautiful song about the sea. Its melody was so sad and heart-melting that it brought me to tears. Of course, Nova was the one singing the solo that year. He had a voice as perfect as his flawless features. I sighed thinking back to his performance. Was there anything he wasn't good at? Miss Sprigg brought me abruptly out of my daydream when she cleared her throat. Everyone, let's get started. John's on the left, Jane's on the right. Today we're going to be arranging you into sections, and I'll be assigning the solo, so I hope you've all been practicing. This caused quite a buzz among us. I heard moans and groans amongst the other orphans. Perhaps some of them were dreading this as much as I was, or more likely they were just reluctant to be separated from the comfort of their cliques. There was actually some clapping and excited laughter and squealing going on too. I could practically feel Sparrow's elation about the solo selection as she squeezed my hand and danced in place. I tried to give her a grim look, but her joy was infectious, and all I could do was grin back when I looked at the big, bright amber eyes that were lit up by her gleaming white smile. You're insane, you know that, I laughed. I'm so nervous, she squealed. Why? You're clearly amazing. You're going to get the solo. I hope so. Gemma got it last year. That's because everyone was always too scared to audition against her. True, maybe I shouldn't. She's been leaving you alone, lately. Maybe I shouldn't stir up any trouble. No, you're incredible, and you deserve the solo. I'm sick of Gemma always intimidating us. It's time for everyone to hear your voice. Thanks, Tippy. You're a great friend. I know. I smiled with a wink. It felt great to be called a great friend, but only for a second, because it instantly made me think of how I've been far less than a great friend to Remy. What's wrong? Sparrow asked. My face must have given me away, so I quickly put on a smile. Nothing. Go get him, I said. As usual, Gemma was the first to volunteer to sing the solo. Her gaggle of henchmaids fawned over her performance, oohing and ahhing and giving over-enthusiastic applause. I rolled my eyes as she bowed. I couldn't wait for her to see Sparrow sing. She probably thought she had this in the bag, since no one had ever dared to try out for the solo for fear of the wrath of Gemma. That was wonderful, 31. Just lovely, Miss Sprigg said. All right, shall we move on to the next part? Johns, let's... I cleared my throat and gave Sparrow a shove forward. I was afraid Miss Sprigg was going to move on without giving her a chance if I didn't act fast. Yes, 42, can I help you? Sparrow glared at me. I'd like to try out for the solo, she mumbled quietly. Excuse me, dear, speak up. I'd like to try out for the solo, she said more clearly this time. This caught everyone's attention. Everyone stopped talking and stared at Sparrow. Everyone except me. I had my eyes trained on Gemma. She was standing there, mouth open, eyes wide in disbelief. She only lost her composure for a brief moment, but I caught it, and it was so gratifying. The Ice Queen was shocked. She quickly narrowed her eyes as if looks could kill, but she covered that up with her sweet-as-poison smile and said, Well, how sweet. I've inspired someone to sing. Come on, 42, let's hear it. This seemed to be what Sparrow needed because she had previously been standing shaking in front of all of us, nervously shuffling through her sheet music, shifting her weight anxiously from foot to foot. But after Gemma's taunt, she lifted her chin and thrust her music to Miss Sprigg, who seemed to be confused as to what was happening. All right, 42, please take it from the top. Sparrow burst into song. Her notes were clear and crisp and perfect, as I knew they'd be. She sounded better than ever. Our entire class was spellbound, speechlessly gawking at Sparrow, as if they'd never met her before. And I guess they hadn't, not this Sparrow anyway. This Sparrow was more confident, more alive, and was absolutely glowing. She looked over at Journey, and he seemed to be as happy as she was. He gave me a smile and then focused his attention back on Sparrow as she finished up her solo. When she ended with her final high note, she took a deep breath and beamed back at us. The mood our room was emoting was complete adoration. No one knew what to do or say, and I could see the look of panic setting into Sparrow's dainty face. You did great, I telepathed to her. But no one is saying anything. You just shocked them is all. I started clapping hysterically to break the silence, just as Gemma's groupie had. Except Sparrow's applause was deserved. This seemed to break the trance, and everyone else followed suit, clapping and hollering for her. Even some of Jenna's clique clapped, until they caught sight of Gemma's seething look. I couldn't help but laugh. Finally, someone stood up to her. That was inconceivable, 42. Where did you learn to sing like that? Miss Sprigg asked, wrapping her arms around Sparrow's shoulders. Sparrow just shrugged and smiled. Well, I think we've just found our soloist. Everyone continued to clap as Sparrow rejoined me. Told you, I said. Oh, thank you so much for convincing me to do that. Okay. Everyone, we really need to get to the rest of our parts, so unless there's anyone else that's been hiding a voice as pristine as 42's, let's move on, Miss Sprigg said, half joking. But then someone else was pushing their way to the front. I strained to see over my classmates, but it wasn't until he emerged in front of all of us that I could see who it was. I drew in a panicked breath. Remy. What was he doing? Was this some sort of stunt to get my attention? I had no idea what could have possessed him to stand up in front of our entire class to sing. He was by far the quietest John in our year, maybe in the whole Tryon Center, and I wasn't even sure if he could sing. I mean, I'm sure he was better than me, but it's not like he went around humming tunes day in and day out. Well, 26, let's hear it, Miss Sprigg said, stepping back, looking annoyed to give Remy the floor. At first, he was completely silent. I felt every cell of my skin crawling. It was as if I was up there instead of him. My palms were sweating, and little beads of perspiration were forming on my forehead, just as they were on his. I could hear his heart racing in unison with my own. I was terrified for him, or maybe with him. I wished so badly that I could offer him some sort of help, or come to his rescue like he did for me with Mr. Graven. All I could do was stand here, helpless, and look and hope that he could pull this off. It was silent for so long that some of the other kids started to talk and snicker. Miss Sprigg shushed them and gestured to Remy to get on with it. His big brown eyes looked like chocolate saucers as he tried to hide them behind his sheet music. But then something incredible happened. Sparrow left my side and joined Remy in front of all of us. She grabbed his hand and started singing softly. Remy eased into the song along with her, lowering his music and looking straight into Sparrow's confident eyes. Their voices swelled and intertwined beautifully with each other, casting a hush over all of us, where we were once again astonished by their unknown talent. I caught Journey's eye, but he only raised his eyebrows questioningly and shrugged. I guess he didn't know what was going on either. When they were finished singing, we all broke into applause again. This time Gemma didn't even try to stop her cohort's praise for Remy and Sparrow, who were excitedly hugging each other. After their embrace, they quickly returned to the group, being swallowed up by admirers. Remy was getting high fives and pats on the back. I even saw someone tussle his mop of dark brown hair. It was good to see Remy smiling like that, getting praise from our peers. Sparrow was getting more of the same among the Janes as she pushed through them toward me. "What was that?" I whispered. "What do you mean?" "Why did you go up there to sing with him?" "You asked me to." "What?" "You kept saying, 'Help him, help him.' I thought you were talking to me." "Oh yeah," I said not very convincingly. Great, now I was telepathing accidentally. I had been thinking that I wished I could help Remy, but I thought I was just thinking it to myself. At least this hadn't backfired like most of my other accidental magic tricks. Sparrow was still looking at me questioningly. I'm sure I had a perplexed expression on my face, so I quickly tried covering it up with a smile. Luckily, Miss Briggs saved me by speaking up before Sparrow could question me any further. "Well, it appears we'll be having a duet this year. I'm excited about all of this new talent. Now let's get to work on the rest of this song." The rest of the lesson went smoothly. We practiced our parts without any more interruptions. The basses, tenors, altos, and sopranos all were rehearsing their parts dutifully. I was put with the altos, which at first disappointed me because it meant I wasn't with Sparrow. But when Gemma and most of her band of merry henchmaids were sorted into the sopranos, I was actually relieved to not be in their group. My part was mind-numbingly easy, which was fine by me. I repeated my words on beat and generally in tune, and was happy when the bell finally chimed, signaling the end of our rehearsal. "Great work, everyone. Please continue to practice. We only have a few more lessons before the New Year Gala," Miss Briggs called after us as we disassembled. I grabbed my journal and retreated to my cot bed to write as the rest of my year gossiped about rehearsals and studied for exams. I looked up a few times to check on Remy, who seemed to be enjoying his new popularity. He had a group of Jeans and even a few Johns surrounding him, chatting energetically. I shook my head in disbelief. It seemed the impossible was becoming increasingly possible recently. Dear Journal, today was interesting. Well, I guess I should stop saying that because suddenly everything in my life is new and unexpected. I know I've been asking for my life to change, and I guess that is actually happening. I think I'm learning to watch what I wish for. I at least need to be more specific anyway. I wanted to be popular, and I guess I am now. After I hit Gemma, everyone seems to know my name. Well, my number anyway. I wanted friends, and now I actually have some. Nova, Sparrow, and Journey. But in the gaining of new friends, it seems I have lost an old friend. Remy and I have been fighting. I don't know what to do. He's my best friend, since I can remember. I don't know what to do without him in my life, but my life is so crazy right now. I can't possibly bring him into all this magic power stuff. I don't even know how to answer my questions about what's happening to me, let alone the questions he'd have. Plus, it's not safe. I'm not safe. I don't want to accidentally hurt him. I know keeping away from him is for his own good. It's the only way I know how to protect him. I just hope that I can figure all of this out soon before it's too late, before he moves on and he doesn't want to be my friend anymore. He sang today with Sparrow, and they sounded amazing, like they'd been singing together their whole lives. It was unreal. I didn't even know he could sing. How could I not know something like that about my best friend? I'm beginning to think there's a lot I don't know about Remy. For starters, he didn't tell me he knew his real name was Remy, or that he had a brother named Tahani, or that he even remembered his life from before the flood. I know he said he was protecting me, and I believe him. I just hope he can see that now it's my turn to protect him. He seems to be enjoying all the attention he's gained from his little duet with Sparrow. All the Jeans in our year are fawning over him, like he's this new sensation. It may be making him happy, but it's driving me nuts. Hello, he's been here all along. You've lived with him since the flood, you oblivious twits. You shared a room, a desk, a life with him. I really hope this is short-lived, because I can't stand that he's talking to them. We used to despise them, but I guess he'd rather talk to them than me. How backwards is that? I guess my whole world is pretty much upside down, so I shouldn't be surprised. Tonight, we're going to the forest again to practice. I'm getting better at controlling my powers, and I haven't had any more accidents. We're actually telepathing flawlessly, and I can produce and control my light orbs with ease. I can even change their color, which Nova doesn't seem to appreciate. He's not the usual light-hearted Nova I know him to be lately. He's all business. He's starting to take the fun out of playing with my new powers. He just wants me to be able to do everything on command. There's no more fun hide and seek or reminiscing. I know he's right to keep us focused. Going to the locker is a serious matter, and we need to be prepared so we can be sure to find what we need while we're there. We're also going to have to look for some special markers that may or may not lead us to some surviving Beto people. Yeah, it sounds even crazier when I write it down. Journey says he's seen their markings with the hunter vision he has, and that if we can find the Beto person, they can get me up to speed on the history of the Druids and my powers. Hopefully we can find someone to enlighten me. I'm ready. Well, wish me luck. That was it. That's chapter 20. I hope you guys enjoyed. Tune in next week, and hopefully we'll have a guest reader doing chapter 21 for you. Bye.